Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Wellness Whisper podcast. And on today's episode, on today's episode to commemorate Women's Day, we're going to be talking about just different subtopics, but from the perspective of three different generations. And today, I'm here with these two lovely women. And yeah, you guys can introduce yourself. We can start with you, Shirley.
Okay, my name is Shirley Apes. Yes, and I'm glad to be here, really honored. I am a GBV activist, uh, mental health awareness activist, and I do motivational and inspirational speaking. A French language specialist, and a whole lot of other things that
Nice.
I will want to leave
Bonjour.
out today. Bonjour.
And over this side?
Um, Thank you for having me. My name is Onaletata Johnson.
Mhm.
I believe I have to say that I'm the managing director
Yes.
of Lyra, Botswana, at this point in time. But in terms of who I am, I have been a female human being for the past 60 years.
I like that.
Nice.
And just a human being who happens to be female. But in terms of who I am, really, I'm a Christian at heart. Um, I'm a positive person. I love beauty. I love harmony and peace.
Mm.
That's who I am.
I'm Elsa, and I'm the Gen Z of this little group. So I'm just a girl. But I guess we can just get right into it and talk about like family and marriages and children and how things have changed, like the perspectives of and expectations on how these um, things have changed over generations. So I guess we can start with Shirley again.
On family
Yeah.
and marriages. Oh, by the way, I'm a divorcee.
Yeah.
Yes, I was married 11 years
Mhm.
and I had to jump ship
Yeah.
because it wasn't what it was supposed to be. It wasn't the marriage that I had envisioned or that the scriptures would talk about, where the husband is honoring the wife like the God did, Jesus Christ did love the church. So it wasn't that kind of a marriage. So I can say over the years, um, the perspectives on marriage have changed.
Yeah.
We are seeing more material based marriages. I don't know if we can call them contractual marriages. That's what we're seeing most of the time. We are seeing family sizes reducing. I think I'm the only millennial who has 4 kids. Yes, because most people are just thinking one, two, one, two.
Yeah.
So I have four, 3 boys and a girl. So it's I've seen the dynamics about family and marriage change over the years. I still look at my parents' marriage and I want something like theirs, but I guess it's not happening in our generation. But we're still hopeful. There's a lot that is changing, and it needs adaptation.
Yeah.
We need to adapt. We need to not necessarily to because I think some change doesn't need to happen. Some things don't need to change. I mean, the order of marriage doesn't need to change. We just need to keep it with the old generation because I think they knew what they were doing.
And how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Compliments from the millennial. You guys know what you're doing.
I think more those who came before me,
Yeah.
but certainly we are closer to them than we are to what is happening today. There has been a lot of change. I mean, I think it's a function of many things. One of which is also um, an issue about people getting to know themselves and understand themselves, and therefore what they want out of the various relationships or activities that they get engaged in. It's unfortunate that this is resulting in the marriage institution being perceived differently, because it doesn't have to, like you're saying. There's still a lot of value in marriage. I mean, we just have to remove things that are not necessary in marriages. Competition, you don't have to compete. Knowing what your role is, and or maybe even before that, understanding that you both need to play a role in the survival and the life of this marriage. That is where the change needs to happen. We need a lot of mentoring and coaching for people to understand
Yeah.
the value, what marriage is, first of all, but also the value around marriage. But there certainly has been a change. Our parents were more accommodative. I don't know the factors behind that. Some of them may not necessarily have been positive,
Yeah.
but at least they managed to see this institution move forward and take care of what it was supposed to take care of, including a healthy well-being of the offsprings or the products of the marriages themselves.
Yeah, I think within our generation, that's where we're seeing a lot more of like the changes because, well, for me, I do value marriage. However, because I value it so much, I'm not in a rush. Like I understand the importance of marriage. I'm not rushing to get into a marriage. I feel like more so in the generations before, it was like the next step. Like, okay, I've done this, then the next step is marriage. So let me just find somebody that I want to get married to. But in my generation, I feel like it will happen if it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm also not opposed to if I'm in a situation where I feel the need to leave, I will. I'm not opposed to leaving a situation in which I don't think I need to accommodate. Yeah. I think that speaks for our generation. Like we don't need to stay. Really. It's fine.
The millennials would stay.
Really?
Some would.
Oh, yeah.
And on the issue of kids, really, I think the Gen Z is a different kind of generation. You know, I look at my kids. My firstborn was born in 2008. Second born 2010. So the other ones are not Gen Z; they are post Gen Z. From
I think that's
2013.
Gen Alpha. Yeah.
Yes, they are the alphas. And man, very trying. They are not afraid to speak their mind.
Yes.
They are not afraid to engage you when they feel they deserve something. Like our parents would tell you, if you pass, I'm gonna buy you a bicycle. And then you do your level best at school, you beat everybody at school, and then you become number one, and they say, no, why like
That was not fair.
because my mom still owes me a bicycle.
Yeah.
Like you were saying,
I have a couple of promises. Yeah.
promise issue. So this Gen Z and the Gen Alpha generation, these ones are wired differently. They talk back at us. They talk back and they demand a level of responsibility on your part. When you say, I'm going to do this on such and such a day, they want you to follow through with it.
It's very much holding them accountable. I'm holding you accountable to your promises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it gives us headbands, you guys.
It's necessary
But
because
it's
why are
also
you promising?
important.
It's very
Very important
Yeah.
because from a mental health perspective, that will definitely can have a bearing
Yes.
on who this future person
who they become.
who they
True that.
become.
True that.
But on the issue of accountability, I want to believe that they also have to take accountability.
Which
And
we do.
half the time
They
I'm
don't
not
want
sure
to.
that is
We
the case.
do.
They don't want to. Half the time they don't want to. You know how much I scream about a dirty sink?
The dishes will get washed. Just give me time.
When
You see
The
that?
dishes will get
When-
washed. Just give me time. I've got a couple of things that I need to do first.
no,
And
And then the
TikTok,
dishes will be.
those couple of things on Instagram.
I need like 10 minutes of TikTok first, and then we can get to it. When everybody goes to sleep, the dishes will be washed.
It's kids. It's kids. But it's nice
as
having
long
them.
as long as they
Yeah.
get washed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I think one of the I mean it's good and it's part of the good change that we are seeing, from our generation and the generations before to to the current kids that
Yeah.
we raise to have an opinion.
Yeah.
You know, you're a human being. You must have an opinion. You should not allow yourself to be boxed in a corner because you're
Yeah.
a
Like your generation was really boxed.
yes, you are a woman and you are expected
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
you know, you can't have an opinion. Oh, of course, we were better off than our
And your
mothers,
parents, yes.
but you know, you can't be loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, and you see that when you look at into the kind of professions that we got into. I mean, we were better off once again compared to our mothers that were given the opportunity to get into careers that we chose.
Yeah.
But you look at it and you realize that not very many people went into those professions
Yeah.
where you needed to like seriously exert
Be
yourself,
outspoken.
whether verbally or
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, look at how many women are in politics. Look at how
Mm.
many women are in. Okay, maybe I suppose the lower numbers of women in like science-based in the STEM in the science-based professions, which is requires a lot of cognitive exertion. That is not to say that women don't have that cognitive ability, but it could be a result of having been socialized to believe that somebody else, being the male folk,
Yeah.
is the one who is entitled to go that route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When as long as you take care of the home and the children and the husband,
You're playing your
then-
part.
yeah, you've played your
Yeah.
And the fact that you were not allowed to smile. You know that they didn't smile, right? When
Where?
they were getting married. You have to keep a serious face.
What?
That is true. That is true because one of my as a bridesmaid at one of my friends' weddings,
Yeah.
and you know we are just loud people.
Yeah.
So the number of times that Baholo came to us and said,
Stop.
"Down," because now we're just chatting and we're laughing and we're sitting right there at the top table.
Yeah, they would hate
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
They would hate me.
No, our generation, I think our generation changed that. The narrative that a bride doesn't smile. In 2011, a cousin of mine got married. She was born in the 60s. 2011, still, she was still pretty sure teeth. Like, I can't, it wouldn't be me.
Oh.
Yeah, but like, isn't this supposed to be your happy day?
Yeah.
How are you not going to smile?
Yeah.
So for me, it never made sense. Because I often look at my parents' pictures and I'm like, what is a
That's
funeral?
so
What a wedding?
true. That's true. Looking back at the pictures,
Yeah.
it's only like
Take
one
the
person
time.
smiling.
I should take the time to go look.
Because I think it was so unfair. But I'm glad we are at a point where we are trying to change the things that really didn't matter. When you were talking about women in career, we can remember is it the Geneva Convention of 1991, when they were talking about equality, gender equality.
Yeah.
You know, I think most times we misplace what it means.
Yep.
And we think when we talk about gender equality, it's about who owns what spoon and you know what, who stays with the kids. But they feel, I always say to people, go back and read the charter. You realize that they were talking about women taking place in careers that they were initially they were not allowed to. Because women were socialized to be teachers and nurses. Those were their careers.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
Because
find
the
a woman scientist.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like that. So nowadays we see a lot of women in the STEM taking STEM subjects.
In niche
I'm not too scientific, but I encourage my daughter and say, you can be a doctor.
Yeah.
So
Or anything you want to
anything
be.
that you want to be. So it's very important for us to realize that it's time to close that gap.
Yeah.
You know, where we think some things are meant for boys and others for girls. I remember at one point somebody visited my house and they were like, why is a boy child cooking in your house?
How else is he gonna
Who is
eat?
supposed to be cooking? Is it me or the sister? Because the sister is younger, so she should be cooking for her elder brother, and the elder brother can cook because he's a boy.
Yeah.
Not at my house. In my house, everybody does everything that needs to be done in the house. They know as a boy, I can find him with the mop mopping the house.
Mhm.
He can clean the room, his room, and stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be left to the
woman,
girl child. So we are really trying to close that gap, even though the generation Yalona, that is our parents, it tried to do that. Because I know my brother used to cook, and he's a mean cook. He cooks better than I do, and he loved the kitchen. So there was no, the kitchen is for the girl child. And me, I was a tomboy, so I
Yeah.
loved basketball more than I do.
Yeah, so did I.
So let children be
Yeah.
who they are.
Yeah,
Let
it's very
people be who
important.
they are.
You see, we're not bad after all. You know.
Yes, no, there's certainly a significant shift in the outlook.
Yes.
I think in terms of like the shift, I feel like there's a shift in the way that we look at ourselves, the beauty industry. I feel like there's definitely a drastic change over the years. And I just wanted to get you guys' opinions on how that's been different for you and how it's affected you in terms of being a woman and what it's like today. I mean, we can start with you. You did say you love beauty.
Well, I mean, like beautiful things. But anyway, no, that's fine. I think it's fair to say that societal beauty expectation, especially on women, has run throughout the generation.
Yeah.
And I want to believe that will
Going to continue.
I think it's just a factor of to what extent or what the focus was on for that particular generation. I mean, yeah, a woman was still expected to be their husband's trophy, even in my time, even in my mother, before others, before us. You had to carry yourself in a certain way, show up in a certain way from a beauty perspective. I think the good thing is that we only did. Okay, let me paraphrase it. Compared to what we are seeing today, the extent to which the expectation was there was not like it is today. I mean, when we talk about makeup, we would go with, we're really minimalistic. I mean, an eyeliner and a little bit some eyebrow pencil. Those were like the things, and maybe powder just to take care of the shine.
Yeah.
But we didn't go much beyond that. If you had an odd person, I remember, we would actually name them, which was not a good thing. If you had an odd person who understood and loved makeup and they would do their thing, everyone else felt, no, this is too much. So yeah, and then beauty from the body structure perspective, I think during our time, I want to believe that the focus was more on a more rounded figure.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm saying this because when you look at Botswana Mbutsetse, you know who's it?
Just checking.
Yes, guys, I do. I promise.
The expectation was that you must eat that porridge, you must eat the fatty food so that when
Gain
you come
weight,
out,
yeah.
people must see that you were well taken care of.
Yeah.
And in fact, people didn't want a skinnier
Oh, that's
wife,
interesting.
woman,
That's the opposite for
because
us.
then it would be like your husband is not taking care of you. So your
Yeah.
husband would be the one to, make
To
it clear
answer.
to you
Why
that
is he not
why are you abusing her?
Yeah,
Or
what's
what is
going
going
on?
on? You are not doing your part in terms of taking care of it. And then we also had of course, not to the same extent as our mothers in terms of skin whitening or lightening. Our mothers used things like special and
Okay.
I don't know that one.
yeah.
I've read about
I do not know
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
But no, we didn't use products to lighten our skins or anything like that. But there was still that leaning towards the lighter skinned
Yeah.
women as prettier than the darker skinned, and that's why you had expressions like black beauty.
Yeah.
I guess trying to counter that viewpoint.
Yeah.
So yeah, beauty expectations run through the generations, but maybe just not to the same extent.
Yeah. I think I've seen a few of those same beauty expectations and standards within our generation, just molded differently. Like in terms of people lightening their skin, I feel like it's more prominent within our generation.
It's like it's
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah, because the whole being lighter is seen as being more beautiful, which
Yeah.
is a wild concept to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah, even down to
I
like
mean, look at her. Look at
gorgeous.
me.
Literally.
You know?
People believe that you
Yeah.
have to be yellow melon, right?
Yeah.
You know?
In order for you to be beautiful, your
And it's
skin has
so
to be-
inherent
yeah.
within certain things, like for example, even wedding songs. Mwa now tshwana lele.
Colour.
But you've
Exactly.
changed that though.
We've
I
changed
think
it,
it
but
started with our generation.
Yeah.
To change that.
Yeah.
No, no, no. You're not
enough is
going there.
enough.
Canada's generation was worse because they it's a generation that believed hair had to be straight.
Mm,
It's the time
Yeah.
when relaxer creams were becoming
the
common.
yes.
There's this one that really smelled bad, which was used to straighten hair. You know what the American feel? It's still there.
Is it still there?
I've used it. By the way, I've used it.
Disclaimer: I
Superb.
haven't. I don't
It's
know what
like
it
that.
is.
I mean, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
that part
it's for
stuff.
perm.
Mm.
So at some point, I used it until my hair started falling off, and
Oh,
my hair is not for,
no.
for chemicals. So I don't use chemicals on my
Yeah.
hair. I'd rather wear a wig. So it's we are going back to natural looks nowadays. Though at some point, I think the early 2000s, when straight wigs were coming into fashion, because it used to be these Afro wigs, back in the day. So when straight wigs were now coming into fashion, everybody wanted to wear a straight wig. And then makeup application changed now from one line
To like,
to boxed
Yeah.
whatever's, and and then lipsticks now came in different shades. It's like a little red lips.
yeah.
It's
And
a
really
little red-
get red lips.
Mind
So
you,
I
both
said,
of you have red lips.
it's a generational thing. So yeah, beauty for our generation, I think it's been more of an outward thing than we have put the focus more on how I look on the outside rather than how I people would say I don't have a magnifying glass that sees that you're beautiful inside. I need to see your beauty from the outside. So that has been the focus for a very long time.
Yeah.
And now we see a lot of people going natural. Even now, I'm growing my daughter's hair natural. She doesn't even want a relaxer cream because I convinced her that it's going to.
Her hair's gonna fall.
Her hair's gonna fall off because that's what my fall off, mom. So I managed to convince her. And there are days when we are doing her hair, she's like, Mommy, I really need my hair softened. Please.
Oh.
Just a little bit of relaxer.
Hey, just a little
Just
bit.
a little bit.
Hey, can I, because this natural hair can be a challenge.
Yeah.
Challenge. Because for myself, even when I started work, I used to keep my head bald or a brush cut. So I remember when I started work, and my hair started growing. And I wouldn't comb it. I would just go to work like this. And my boss one day called me and she said, "Hey, man, how are you going?"
Certainly at that time, I can.
And I
Yeah.
said, "The boss said, I will come see the man." We don't have those things. You guys, during
You
your
gave her
time,
homework.
so because so beauty has changed over the years, but we're trying to restore beauty from being a physical thing to being more in the things that we do with our hands, the things that we think in our hearts. Because for the longest time, we've been under pressure, the outward look.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think from 2008, girls we were getting yellow bone.
Yeah.
People were getting over it. They were shook. You meet somebody today, they are my complexion. The next day you see them, they are Michael Jackson, and you wonder what happened. Because they are not satisfied. Because society is telling them that in order for you to be accepted, you need to be this complexion. And I remember at one point, a certain lady, she was my mom's friend. I was doing Form 1, and she said to me, when Nokia Face of Africa started, she said to me, I think we can be Nokia Face of Africa. I need to enter you in the competition. And I said, why? And she said, "Ho na le bontshonyana-nyana jo bo." I was like, oh, so that's the only reason why you want me as to Nokia Face of Africa.
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm
Yeah.
not going to do a pageant just because my skin is black.
Yeah.
So are you telling me that Face of Africa is for dark-skinned girls only? What about those who are caramel-skinned and stuff like that? What about when you can be Face of Africa? So we are seeing the changes in beauty.
Yeah.
Our parents bought us relaxer creams.
Yep.
And then Risha.
Yep.
How Hati? What are we talking?
Hey, I'm getting
By the
flashbacks.
way, I'm 9 years. Kilo 9.
How?
How?
At least we didn't have to deal with that.
And-
For now, our hair was plaited.
Yeah.
And after that, she would plait my hair. And I remember at one time I came back from school because it was so tight. And I was developing some sores. So I came back from school and I took a pair of scissors. And I just went. When she came from work, I thought that day she was going to kill me, but she just looked at me and she said, so she had no choice but to continue where I left off. So for me, beauty is, I love beauty. I love beauty. There are times you'll see me, I'm wearing a wig and you can't even recognize me. So I wore a wig yesterday. But the moment I got into the car going back home, I just had to take it off because it was
Breather.
hot.
I think the beauty is in exactly that.
Yeah.
That, you don't feel pressured or compelled
Yes.
Yeah.
to do anything. You do it out of your own
Yeah.
time. And of course, that is not to say not taking into account the environment around you,
Yeah.
because we don't live in isolation. However, just appreciating the fact that I'm the driver of my own vehicle.
I have a choice.
Yes.
I can do what I
Yeah.
want to do.
True.
I remember in high school, I'm not going to say which high school I went to, but there was a bit of an issue in terms of natural hair. And they were saying, "Hore, we now need to have straighter hair and put it in specific ways, and it has to be of specific length." Yeah, specific length. And at the time, I was a prefect, and now I was supposed to enforce these rules onto like other people. But I was like, that's impossible because I literally have natural hair and there's no way I'm gonna relax it.
Yeah.
I think being able to make that choice and being able to stand up for that is beauty in itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that I can be able to say, no, this doesn't make sense to
Yeah.
me. Like in my generation, I can be outspoken, I can be loud, I can
That's why I love
be, I can fight back because this doesn't make sense to me. If I want to have my hair relaxed, fine, it's still fine. But you can't force me. There's choice. And I have that choice. I'm allowed to do what I need to do, you know? Yeah.
Not true that.
Yeah.
That's sad. Forcing somebody to relax their hair.
Yeah.
I would have come back bold the following day.
Yeah.
I'm
And
telling you.
it
I
was
wouldn't cut
just,
my hair.
it was a whole
I would
thing.
have just gone home and said to my mom, can we just get rid of this? Because I think those people have a problem with this. So,
Mhm.
I think
You know,
it was an era of telling.
Yeah.
Told what
Yeah.
you can't, like I
Yeah.
was saying, you don't have an opinion, and I don't have to be convinced.
Yeah.
You don't have to give motivation why we must do that, like,
Yeah.
because that's where the conversation would start to make sense.
Yeah.
Because if it's a two-way you are giving to each other, then I would be able to explain to you, but that doesn't make sense. Because naturally, this is how my hair is.
Yeah.
You want me to introduce chemicals? We don't know what's going to be the effect of that gamoso.
Yeah.
And, just for what, really?
Yeah.
It's really a temporary fix because when your hair grows,
Yeah. And then you have to relax again and again and again. Okay, so I think for the next topic, we should touch into mental health and emotional well-being.